Okay, so our patient is a 53-year-old male. He has a past medical history of hypertension. He initially presented in 2021 with an acute type B aortic dissection. Due to refractory pain, it was an uncomplicated type B aortic dissection, but due to refractory pain, he underwent TEVAR with coverage of the left subclavian artery, as well as left carotid to subclavian bypass. A dissection stent was also placed down to the distal descending thoracic aorta. He did well postoperatively, but he was lost to follow-up. He then showed back up in 2025. CTA was obtained. I'm going to let it run through a little bit here. Okay, so the CTA shows aneurysmal degeneration of the aortic arch and proximal descending thoracic aorta, all the way down to the distal descending thoracic aorta. Here in this first picture on the top left, you can see that there's poor apposition of the proximal aspect of the TEVAR. You can see that there's opacification of the false lumen there. There's some bird beaking. On the bottom right, you can see that the aneurysmal degeneration extends down to the takeoff of the celiac. The splenic artery and the left gastric came off the aorta separately. The aneurysm was about 6 centimeters proximally in the arch and proximal descending thoracic, as well as in the distal descending thoracic. Okay, so for this patient, we presented a unique challenge. We had to extend the aortic repair into zone 0 proximally and into the infrarenal aorta distally to achieve, depressurization of the false lumen and to exclude the aneurysmal portion of aorta from circulation. And so our plan was to do a zone 0 TBE proximally and then a TAMB distally. In order to do the zone 0 TBE proximally, we had to create an adequate proximal landing zone and also create a single branch for the TBE for perfusion of the brain and in both upper extremities. So in this patient, we did a right common carotid to left subclavian artery bypass, and then a left common carotid transposition to this bypass. In this case, the patient already had a left carotid to subclavian bypass, so we transected that and then anastomosed the distal end to the graft coming from the right carotid. And then we transposed the left carotid onto this bypass. And here's a representation of the anatomy at this point. So 2 days later, we took the patient back to the OR for our zone 0 TBE via percutaneous femoral access. We first extended our TEVAR down to the celiac artery. Then we obtained brachial access. We snared a wire from the brachial through the femoral and brought it through and through. We then brought our TBE into position and deployed it with the portal going into the innominate. And then we deployed our branch. Here is the before and after angiographic images. You can see that the carotid, right to left carotid subclavian bypass and carotid transposition are widely patent. And so with our next case in mind, the TAMB, at this point we decided to go ahead and cannulate and stent the celiac artery to give us kind of a landmark for the TAMB. We also cannulated and embolized the splenic artery as well to prevent a potential type 2 endoleak in the future. So a few weeks later, we brought the patient back to the OR. We planned for a transfemoral approach for our TAMB. since the patient left subclavian is covered with TVAR at this point, and we do not want to traverse through our TBE branch in the innominate. So via percutaneous femoral access, we brought our TAMB into position using the celiac as a guiding mark there and fully deployed the device. We then anchored the TAMB in position to the TVAR using endo anchors. And then we focused on cannulating and stenting the visceral vessels. To do that, we used the Healy FX sheath for the endo anchors. We formed it and then snared the Grand Slam wires that were in the portals for the TAMB, and then brought the Grand Slam wire through and through. We then advanced an Ansel sheath over the Grand Slam wire into the portal and put a buddy wire into the Ansel sheath and then cannulated.
I'm sorry, man. That's the end of your time. That's going to be the end of your slides.
Okay.